Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with our, is it 148th? You know what? I can find out if I look. Yes, 148th episode of Book of Hours playing as the artist. Now, there's a little bit of news related to Book of Hours, which I think there's quite a few of you that are very dedicated fans of the series, and I apologize, I'm moving my mic stand. So this may not be news to some of you, but as of this recording, which I'm recording this on April the 28th, just this will matter because I'm talking about release dates, but I believe House of Light has got a release date of September the 26th. This is from Weather Factory. Now, this, of course, is their plan. I think probably the further in the future the release date is, I always imagine that there's probably a higher chance of something going wrong in terms of the date, just because, you know, again, it probably implies that there's more work to be done. And for those of you that like following game development stuff, there is actually a good talk that Alexis Kennedy, one half of Weather Factory, gave, and in fact talks about estimating the time that it takes to do things. But even when you do the estimates, and that is a good practice to get into, I think, but actually for most things, I would imagine, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't always work. And in fact, I think it was the case that Book of Hours itself had a delayed release as well. So. The release date was pushed back. So that's why I'm just saying, as of today, the release date is late September, but keep in mind that this can change. And then, of course, no indication when there will be any content related to that. As far as I'm concerned, I've got the Perpetual Edition, so I'd certainly be playing it as soon as it becomes available. But on the other hand, I'm sure they have plans in terms of when they'll be releasing out, gameplay footage and things like that. So presumably people will know a bit of what it's like before that date. Okay, but we're not here for the news. Maybe I should come up with a Weather Factory news channel. What I am interested in is where we're at in the playthrough. For those of you who, apparently have a photographic memory when it comes to calendars. 28th is Sunday. I don't normally record the episodes on the Sundays unless I'm really far behind, and that's exactly where I find myself today. So on top of the usual being a little fuzzy in terms of what my overall plans were, I do find myself in a situation where I'm I'm playing catch up and trying to think about what's the direction I want to take the playthrough. So we've got winter. If I recall correctly, I was going to knock. Actually, hang on. Right, now I'm remembering. I had a bunch of lessons, so we weren't going to be reading anymore. Well, I mean, I can read the books, but I think I was going to be working on these. Pretty sure I was going to be working on these. The notes I'm looking at here really don't seem to line up with what I'm looking at, but okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Are we talking with Mrs. Kill? We are. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to let the cycle do its thing. I am going to earn some money at the Sweet Bones. There's not much work on offer in Brancrude, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. And then I'm going to let the timers do their thing, so I can get a little bit of a better idea in terms of where I'm at. So essentially, I'm not going to commit any elements of the elements of the soul, until I have a clearer idea of what I want to accomplish. I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. Okay, so here we've got resurgences and emergences. Now, here's the other catch. I don't remember what I was leveling up. Oh, wait, I do. It was Desires and Dissolutions, so that doesn't go beside it. Now I'm starting to remember. And again, I don't have to feel locked into a set of plans that I had earlier in the playthrough. If I decide that I want to take things in a different direction, it's not, it's not a tragedy. In the end, if it was the right call, it should be obvious to me when I look at the memories. Okay, Stolen Secret, something I overheard in dreams. That could probably work for leveling up Desires and Dissolutions. In fact, I hope I'm not already getting a Stolen Secret from the books. But yeah, I figure the best bet is just to sort of infer my intent from the books that I was reading, and then we'll follow up in terms of just figuring out sort of next steps following that. If I can find a use for the snow, that's great, but it's not an immediate requirement. Okay, The Wind's Ruin, the second volume of the Meditations of Abbot Thomas of the Abbey of the Black Dove. Abbot Thomas speaks of his time as a raider when his name was not Thomas, but Toke, scything the sea, striving for plunder. Abbot Thomas clearly regrets his storm years, and much of the book is taken up with his thoughts on penitence. But there are hints also that he misses those years, and the companionship of his sword brother, ship brother, Trygeave. Alright, Beguiling Melody, a sweet enchantment of a song. Not quite done at that desk. The Queen's Turn, a 16th century translation of the Barrowchild's account of Lagia's turn, when Lagia, the Queen Unsated, was offered the opportunity to enter the service of the Hours of the Triple Knot, as long as she repudiated her brother-lover Antaios. Lagia accepts, setting aside the arts of the Low Red Sun associated with Antaios. She bargains, however, for freedom for her daughters. The Hours of the Triple Knot accept casually, knowing that Lagia has devoured her daughters. But wily Lagia has decided in the secret hollow of her heart that she will adopt any who ask if they can prove their fierceness. Through the traditions described here, the ones generally described as hill and hollow are associated with Lagia before her turn. But now that she is a name of the Red Grail, they might also safely be used before an altar of the Triple Knot. So that's one to pay attention to, because there's a big hint inside that. 108, Ava de Wolf discourses on the fifth history, and particularly on those who are said to have passed over from it, the Great Hooded Princes, the Knocklong, who ascended under the Mother of Ants, but now, so Ava claims, honor the Horned Axe. The Great Hooded Princes call their library the Tomb of Lies, and this has given rise to a foolish tradition that the princes are habitual liars. Of course, in fact, truth flourishes when lies are slain. On the other hand, the princes do not say knowledge is power, but rather power is knowledge. Ava has, to her regret, never visited the library. She notes that it is said to be west of the Lion and north of Victory, and suggests that although the princes are generally associated with India, their library might be further east. Those indignities perpetrated by the deceitful fraternity of Obliviots. It is not clear whether CROD, who is identified only by his initials, was in fact an initiate of the Obliviate Order of Immortal Adepts. He wrote in the 16th century, after the order, if he is to be believed, had passed the height of its power. 58. That they did claim inheritance of the traditions of the House of Leith, but that they have disregarded both its most sacred and its most beautiful ceremonies where they are not found convenient. 59. 71. The Glassfinger toxin is no mere assassin's convenient for the Oblividiots to confine to the disposal of their enemies. It has higher uses. Certainly it is a great matter of winter, but I have already outlined the technique by which it may be fitted for its ultimate destiny. And the sun disfigured a scroll of anthropoderm parchment written in the golden ink called Uzalt. The author of the text calls herself the Elegabline. Sometimes she seems to be Sunset Celia, the Watchman's name. Sometimes she seems to be Lady Tryphon, the Grail-Long. It is unclear whether these are separate entities or the same person. It may be unclear even to the writer. The flaws in the Sun's plan are elucidated. The Sun's plan itself is never entirely clear, but it is a project of some kind to enter, possess, or surrender to the glory, the pure light above the mansus. This book suggests ways in which that plan might fail. The Sun's sins and the Sun's scars are our salvation. There are histories where they will trap us, prevent us rising to eternity. Alright, so in terms of what I need to level up Desires and Dissolutions, I need a total of, 8 memories. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just need 2 more. Now if I take a look at my list, in fact I can mark this up a little bit. So we've got Beguiling Melody, Salt, Confounding Parable, Sun's Weakness, Contradiction, Intuition, Gossip, Stolen Secrets, Satisfaction. I should also add Taste to that. Okay, so the question is, can I get 2 memories like this from Mrs. Kill? And I think that's an obvious yes. Intuition, Gossip, or Satisfaction. That's 3 memories that I can potentially get from Mrs. Kill. I don't think I'm going to use any of my elements of the soul to try and generate more things for resurgences and emergences. Now, the first thing I would probably look to find transformations and liberations. I guess I was moving up Bells and Braziers. Braziers. So I can't imagine I would have pushed up Door and Wall. The thing I was really looking for was if I had moved one of these skills higher up. So, you know, these are the 1s, these are the 2s, and what I'd sort of be looking for would be if I have an unusually low number somewhere in the list. Now I can see some sense in leveling up Inks of Revelation. I don't believe I have a higher level Lantern. Out of the Moth stuff, I think I was also potentially considering Sacralimea. That would also be tempting because of my ability to combine the Impulse and the Snow. And then I would only need 3 more. But then there's also Rites of the Root. Oh, yes. Actually, I think I was going to go for Rites of the Roots because I didn't have... I didn't have a really high level nectar. Okay. I'll probably do Rites of the Roots the more I think of it. Now, Preliminal Meter. So this is kind of funny. So I've got a high level Knock and Rose, so you'd think I probably don't need to worry about either. I think for that one I said I was going to do Inks of Power. The alternative would be Horns and Ivories. And I certainly need a boost to my scale. But yeah, I think I'll probably put it into Inks of Power. So that one is even easier. That's a question of Rose and Scale, although I don't have either of those right now. So, okay. And Inks of Power is already positioned for 5. Yeah, I'll try and commit this to memory. If I don't, like I said, the logic behind it should probably be evident. So where I'm left now is, do I have a fighting chance to accomplish some of what I'm looking to do? So for instance, right now, I could say, okay, well, we'll use this impulse with transformations and liberations, but do I have the remaining 4 for Rites of the Roots, and is it realistic for me to be able to level that up? So, you know, for instance, I could use the For some reason, I seem to think that I can use the metal for something here. So metal would be edge and forge. We'll say the health is set aside for Inks of Power. Well, I suppose my outside option here is we restore the shaft. That would give me 4 elements of the soul to generate the memories off of. And there is actually one other thing that I can do to give me a slight edge on that. I can read Wrapped in the King. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. And then I guess I could also read... well, it wouldn't be Savage Hymns, actually. Not unless I wanted to level up the scale. Okay, I actually need to take a minute here and think about what my game plan is for Rites of the Roots. Let me actually just write... I know every Monday seems to be writing day, but let's actually work out a plan for these things. So Rites of the Roots. Three of those. And Preliminal Meter. Okay, so when it comes to Rites of the Roots, the easiest thing for me to do is just go through the library. So Impulse, this is actually one of the cases where Impulse is helpful. Satisfaction doesn't really do much for me there. Revelation is only Lantern. We have Secret Threshold. It's Nectar and Moth. So Secret Thresholds, Bittersweet Certainty doesn't do anything for me. Foresight doesn't. This is still Foresight. Regret, Winter and Scale, I think. Hindsight, no. Intuition, no. Gossip, Rose. Fear gives me Scale, Beguiling Melodies, no. Contradiction, Edge and Moon, Storm, Heart and Sky, Salt. Sun's Weaknesses is an option. Okay, I have a lot less on the shelf than I thought I did. So on my sort of my first glance, I actually only count 3 memories I can generate from reading that I can, that I could do the level up from. Now, that's probably overstating it, but this does mean that I need to think a little bit. So one option I have here is the Name Day Riddle. It's also worth remembering that I'm I'm looking to get this to level 8, so it's going to involve a lot of effort. So the music is just Sky. I think we talked about the Bittersweet Certainty, but that's a Lantern and Winter one. Sometimes playing gives me some ideas on these, but I want to just think if I'm missing something really obvious. I think moth is probably the bigger force to help me out. And I think I've already got impulse written down here. Yep. Oh, scent, I think, was the one I was looking for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, we need 8. There may be like another Newman that I could work with, but that's not really important now because I can only ever have one at the time. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank in terms of any other things that I can get out of books. So at that point, I need to think about what I get from, the skills that I have. And I think the catch here is that if I were to do the basic ones, I know there's like a couple memories that wind up being, there's a couple that wind up being helpful. So, for instance, like something like an old wound is one that I hang on to for a long time. But overall, I don't think. And then I think another one is Torg's Cleansing, which isn't persistent, but that's just edge only. Yeah, for the most part, I don't think there's a whole lot that I can get in terms of memories on their own that help me with the effort. So I need to think in terms of creating things. So usually I use a memory to get another. I use a memory to get a memory, and named a riddle is my go-to. I'm just trying to think what the other ones are. So there's 2 songs. There's the Thunderskins Paean, which I don't think helps me. The Ascendant Harmony is an obvious one, but we already have that, and that's Lantern and Sky. I guess technically the Wormwood Dream counts. That, I think, is normally a keeper one, except for the Edict's Martial. And there's the Hive's Lament. I'm just trying to remember if that's a... Oh, hang on. This is the one I always keep forgetting, Old Moment. Okay, so I'm up to 6. Yeah, so I feel like the Hive's Lament is probably somewhere I want to go with that, but now I'm also trying to remember how I get it. Okay, I'm feeling a little disappointed. So I guess the other factor that I have going for me is rain. So I've got an impulse, earth sign, sun's weakness, named a riddle, scent, old moment, rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so the best I can hope for right now is, well, you know what? I'm going to make a marker, Hive's Lament. Maybe that's something for me to work on. We're not going to get rain during winter anyway. But it gives me something to work towards, I suppose. And I mean, I guess in a pinch, I was willing to put something towards leveling up Inks of Revelation. It would just be better if I can move up Rites of the Roots. So anyways, I do apologize for the time that took, but obviously I've got a bigger problem than I thought I would have. So I suppose one option I have is to restore the Tryst and make a name day riddle out of that. And then also to make a... yeah, name day riddle in an old moment. are two options. Good God. All right. Before I do that, I want to see if I can find out anything about the Hive's Lament. No. Okay, that's interesting. Huh. Was it Disciplines of the Scar that gives me the, Well, this'll be fun. I gotta think about how I'm gonna get the other 10. Maybe I don't try, but I'm trying to remember where else I get the old moments. Okay, let's, none of them are telling me their secrets. What I'll do, I'm still gonna let the time. Actually, there's one other. The Drat. The name day riddle should be something that I can make, but I don't have the right memory. I do still have a bit of time. I'm feeling a little nervous about it, but actually there is one other thing that I can do here, and that is scent. Investigate this object. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. Okay, let's get that chapped back. It is winter and the storms have tightened the seas. I am sitting before the fire in the sweet bones with a beef and potato pasty in one hand and a hot ale posset in the other. Old Copper-Nose and the Softer Metal, a disgraceful compendium of rivaled poetry about the habits and corruptions of Henry VIII. Henry's great misfortune, his crushing injury at a jousting bout, has left him unable to stand any straighter than a splintered withy. The most savage mockery is reserved for Henry's great debasement, where the corruption of his softer metal is supposed to have crept into the coin of the realm. The last and most serious lampoon makes seditious references to the Crucible Revolution. Alright, so why on earth did I want the foresight? I'm assuming it might have been something to do with trying to level up Inks of Revelation. But I don't think I'm going down that path anymore. I will, however, see if I can make something of the... I think I'm coming up short in terms of elements of the soul to apply here. Maybe. Okay, so I've got an earth sign coming, a name day riddle, and a scent. Okay, so we're good to... I've got everything that I need for leveling up, although I'll still probably want to restore elements of this, or elements of the soul. If nothing else, so I can get another earth sign again, but I also need the two remaining memories for resurgences and emergences. The sense of awareness persists, but the plant remains immobile, unsettling but harmless. It doesn't even have thorns. So I think my best option here is I'll be restoring some elements of the soul, and if I have a surplus, that just means that I get to earn some more money at the end. Okay, good. Satisfaction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 8. I think I'm actually one short. Earth sign, named a riddle. I need one more. Ooh, this is gonna get ugly. Alright, Wrapped in the King. Detailed accounts of secret bacchanals and ecstatic dances observed in necropolises and graveyards in southern Europe, in Egypt, and in Anatolia. The author is a self-confessed ghoul, an eater of buried flesh. He claims to have witnessed the dances while at his feasting. The dances draw from the traditions of the mysteries of the cults of Isis and Sybil, and includes both symbolic and literal flayings, and the human heart is always central in the rites. The author punctuates his accounts with queasily sensuous descriptions of his own interrupted feasts. At these greater feasts, a black pig is always crowned as king before its slaying. On this occasion, its heart was weighted in the balance against a knot of feathers, and its skin became a cape for the officiant. Its flesh was left for the crows, but I must confess my interest was not in its carcass, but in the perfumed flesh of the milliner laid fresh in the earth. Okay. I could try something quite reckless. So I have 39 seconds before I get the moth. And then what I think I could do is I could use one of these elements of the soul to read the sun disfigured again. In fact, I'll do that now. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. Okay, so yeah, I'm creating a little bit of danger for myself, but I think we should be able to get through this. The largest thing is just I want to get through all of the like the lessons as quickly as I can, just so I can move on to the other books. But all of that will be handled later on in the week. Thank you everybody for watching. No episode on Tuesday as usual, but I will be back, Wednesday, and we will see whether or not I actually pull off what I'm trying to do. I'll talk to you then.